In our experience in the Philippine homeschooling movement, the three biggest advantages of homeschooling, first of all, is what's called personalized learning. Personalized learning is being able to take a child or a learner, and because you know your child best, that's our philosophy. A parent knows their child best. You will know what they like. If they like dinosaurs, if they like airplanes, if they like basketball, and you use what they like to now teach them the subject areas they need to cover. That is personalized learning. And we feel that in a homeschooling environment, because a parent knows their children best, then they're in a better place to help the child experience personalized learning. The second is bonding time. As a family, what we've learned and what we've seen in homeschooling as an advantage is because they're not in a school, they're now with the family, you have all that time to have fun, to play, to travel, to explore, and really just bond together as a family. And the third is influence. I mentioned the time and how bonding becomes an advantage in homeschooling because you have all that time. But also because you have all that time, you now have a chance to influence. And as a father who chose to homeschool, that's the main reason why I really got into it. I realized that, when we look at our children, we only have one shot at parenting them. Only one life to live. So we want to ask ourselves, who or what should be the main influence in our children in this season? And there could be any set of influences. It could be the media, it could be TV, it could be friends. But because we are the parents, and we'd like to think we are good parents, as good parents, we want our children to learn good things, the right values, the right character, and we feel that the best people to teach that to the children, although they can learn it from peers and other people, the best people to teach that should be us as parents. So those are the three things that we see as the advantages. There is personalized instruction and learning, there is bonding time, and there is the advantage of being the main influence to really shape the values and the minds and hearts of our children.
I think the biggest advantage for family is being able to pass on your values, no matter what those values are. Sometimes I hear people say, I can't homeschool because I could never be around my kid all day. And that to me is very sad that you would have that type of relationship. So it makes your family bond very strong, and also gives you as an individual the support network to go out and try new things and not be afraid to fail because you have your family standing behind you.
Well, in my experience, when I was homeschooled, it really changed the way I thought about learning. So I went from someone who only wanted to do the work necessary to complete that day to someone who just loved learning and wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. So I think the biggest advantage, certainly in my life, was awakening this love of learning and desire to learn about as many subjects as I possibly could.
I think the advantage of homeschooling and or home education is that your classroom size is 1-to-1 or however many siblings that you have, and that obviously the teacher loves you. All teachers love their students, but a bond between a parent and child is very special. You can pursue your interests. If you're really good at math, then you can go move ahead, but if you need more time in history, then you can review more. So it really lets you master the subjects and master the material instead of just overviewing it and then moving on with the rest of the class, whether you're ahead or behind.
I have found, as I have home educated my children for about 15 years now, I find my children are free thinkers. They will not do things just because the other children are doing it. They have learned to question things and understand why things need to be done that way. So I'd say that's a very big advantage. I've also seen that they're able to learn at their own pace. Whatever they're good in, they can move faster in that. For example, my son really enjoys math, and so he can move a little faster with that. He doesn't enjoy reading as much, and he likes more assistance with that. So I will spend more time in that, reading to him, and then we talk about what we've read, and we discuss and ensure that he has understood. I found that a big advantage because in a school situation, he would have to move in the pace of every other, the pace that the teacher decides. But now I know his learning style, I know his strengths, I know his weaknesses, and I'm able to tailor according to that, to tailor his education according to that. I have also liked that I can follow my children's interests. After we have covered what I consider to be important, I can see what is their particular gifting, what is their particular talent, and nurture that. For example, my daughter enjoys doing a lot of things with her hands. She likes to do crafts, she likes to sew, and she's young, she likes to bake. Now, if she was in school, I wouldn't have time. She'd still have the same talents, but I probably would not have time to nurture those and to grow those. You know, now we can, as part of our school day, we can go to the kitchen and she will bake a cake, or she will go and get her paints and get a piece of wood and draw her thing, and you know, that's all part within the school day. Or you know, go on the internet and look at various things that people are doing and try and copy those. So homeschooling has given us time to look at the strengths of each of our children and to nurture that. My boy enjoys football, so I will incorporate that in what we do. I'll get a coach for him, and he can come as many times as we want him to coach my child, and he can join soccer leagues. So that has also been a great advantage. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I do think home education is very valuable to society, especially because children are becoming more independent, they have initiative, they get excited about what they're learning and doing, and so then as adults they become more excited, energetic, independent members of society, and so the whole is a net benefit to everyone.
Well, I think it's good for my children, and but I think it's important for the parents to understand that it's a big commitment, and they need to be prepared to really work hard for it. So if they decide to go homeschooling, they need to really prepare themselves for it.
So do I think home education is good for children? Absolutely. But it's good if you have good parents. That is the key. If you have parents who have the wrong motivations in home education, if you have parents who are negligent, which has happened in some homeschooling fronts, and it's really tragic, then it honestly will not be good for children. So what are good parents? That's a whole other discussion all of its own, but let's boil it down to a few things. A good parent is intentional. A good parent has the right motivation. What is the right motivation? In our experience, in our humble experience so far, the right motivation for home education is beyond academic completion. That is important, but it must focus on character and values. If we're not able to raise up children who will learn that above the academics, even if they're very smart and have a lot of information, they can use it for all the wrong things, and that is disaster. So if a parent is able to be intentional and is able to teach that, then I think you have good parents, and that's what would make it beneficial for children.